Hello everyone, my name is Nathan, you're watching Leviathan, and welcome back to another Let's Talk Games. There was supposed to be a Challenge Bag Tuesday video today, but sadly I have yet to actually finish the game that I need to actually do the challenge. I've been working really hard on that, and to some extent that's actually kind of the reason there's been a little bit of days that I miss videos. But it should be done hopefully sometime this week, and therefore I can upload it hopefully next Tuesday. If you don't know, usually in the past when I did Challenge Bag Tuesdays every month, for like the 3 months that I did it, it was always the second Tuesday, I believe, and that's kind of where I'm going to go in the future. But this month, obviously, I'm going to have to push it back a little bit. But this is a Challenge Bag, no, it's not a Challenge Bag Tuesday. This is a Let's Talk Games video, which has nothing to do with Challenge Bag Tuesday. So let's talk about games. But first off, as always, let's do 3 facts about moi. You want to know a couple things about me? I'm just gonna open up my soul to you guys. Bring out these facts and just throw them randomly on the table. First fact number uno, is that the first game that I ever personally owned was Star Wars Battlefront, which I believe came out 2004, which means I would have been 10 years old. And that may be surprising to some people, just because, 10 years old, I could have been playing games for quite a while beforehand and stuff. And I did play games before, obviously, with friends and stuff, video games and stuff before, I think... I don't know what the first game I ever played was. It may have been Mario. One of the Marios. I can't even think of which one it would have been. It would have been one of the earlier Marios and stuff. And I played it at like a dentist office or something like that. But I think that was definitely the first game I ever owned, though, was Star Wars Battlefront, the first one. And the interesting thing about it is the computer that we had at the time was so shitty at the time, for even now it'd be like the worst computer you could ever imagine, but at the time it was shitty and couldn't even run that game. So that actually, my complaining about that got my parents to buy me a PS2, which was really nice. So that was actually kind of made me get my first system, which is actually the second fact. The second fact is the first system I ever owned was the PS2, which, like, once again, sometimes I think about that. I'm like, oh man, there's so many games I could have experienced if I had tried to get one earlier on and stuff. But I wasn't. The PS2 is not a bad age to start gaming and stuff, especially like since I had obviously played games before. But to actually start my own collection, the PS2 was actually a great system to start on and stuff. So that's fact number 2. Fact number 3, and this has nothing to do with gaming, because what? The facts don't have to do with gaming. They're about me. Well, I made the rules here. Come on, guys. I can say whatever the frick I want. Okay? You can't stop me. You can't stop me. Now, fact number 3 is, this also may be a little bit surprising, is I've never had sushi. I've always kind of wanted to. I just never have had it before and stuff. And I'm not a huge lover of fish and stuff, or seafood in general. I do like crab, and lobster is pretty good. I've only had lobster like once or twice. But I've never had sushi and stuff, which that'd be an interesting thing to do coming up now in the future a little bit here. And if actually, I could even make a video on it. I mean, that would be kind of a ridiculous video, just me trying sushi for the first time. But if you want to see it, I guess let me know, and I'll do it. But yeah, those are the 3 random facts about Nathan. You're a little bit more knowledgeable about moi, I guess. But let's get into actually talking about games. Now, in the past videos, I've started out talking about the games and stuff by talking about games that I've been playing recently. And I do that, but the games I've been playing recently have either been games that have been out for a long time, like Until Dawn, and then the game that the challenge is based on, so I'm not going to mention what game that is. And then the other games I've been playing have been Ghost Recon and Horizon Zero Dawn, which I already spent time in the last few videos talking about. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to go straight into the games I'm going to talk about that are coming up soon. 2 of them are coming out this month. Another one, I'm not quite sure when it's coming out, but I know it's coming out this year. Super excited for them all. I'm only going to talk about 3 just because I want to spend enough time on each one. And I've mentioned all 3 of these in previous videos, and so I'm just going to go into more detail here as I talk about them. The first one we're going to talk about comes out the 25th of this month. and that would be Outlast 2. I am so super excited for Outlast 2. The first two, the first game in the demo, not the demo, the DLC, Whistleblower, were absolutely fantastic. I love those games. Really, some of the scariest games I'd played when I first played them and stuff, and really kind of still hold up to being some of the more scary games that I've ever played and stuff. They do focus a little bit more on the gore and stuff like that. But I played the demo for number 2. The video, I do have a video up on my channel somewhere with that. I might link it in the description and stuff. But oh man, I'm so excited for that game. That is a game, like, pretty much from the beginning I saw it, I was like, I'm definitely playing that. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna love it. It doesn't matter if how good it is. I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna love it. But it's really interesting because it's according to their Steam page and stuff. It's still within the same universe as the first one in the demo, the DLC. What am I saying? Why do I keep saying demo? Crazy here, boom. But the demo obviously showed us that it's somewhere, I think, in the Midwest. But it's more like farm area and stuff, while the other ones were within, the asylum. And I'm not sure if there's any connection with Wall Rider of the other games and then the new one and stuff. If you've seen the demo, it almost seems like it's more supernatural than the other ones were. The other ones, besides the Wall Rider at the end, which was more of a scientific thing than necessarily a supernatural thing, for the most part you were running away from crazy people who wanted to kill you and chop you up into little bits and chop other stuff up into little bits that we don't want to talk about. But yeah, the next one, there's that part where you go into the well, and then and then they have more like kind of almost supernatural type stuff that you usually see, where you come through and there's like a swing, and then the swing is still swinging. You're just like, what? Hey, little ghost, what's going on? But then the well, like the tongue comes out and grabs you and drags you down into the well. Okay, it's pointing me toward the well. Is there gonna be like a little girl down there? Really creepy, like The Ring. Hello? What the? Okay, that's a tongue. And then you're in the school. Like, there's a lot of kind of moving about, and obviously this is a demo, so maybe it completely plays differently. Maybe some of that stuff's not even in there. But then once we're in the kind of school that was inside the well, we find what could be technically the Wall Rider, but it doesn't look like the Wall Rider. It's more ghostly and blackish. And so while the Wall Rider, I believe, was kind of glowy and white, from what I remember. But it's going to be really interesting to see if it's going to have more supernatural elements to it. And one thing that I would have to say that I kind of hope that they do is not necessarily leave the gore behind, because I mean the gore and the complete violence and disturbing things that happen in the game, that's kind of Outlast's thing. That's kind of their thing that they grabbed hold of, because a lot of other horror games were kind of staying away from that a little bit, or at least some were going kind of that direction, but not as nearly as far as Outlast kind of really did. And I feel like one thing I would like to see is, in between those type of scenes, a lot more atmospheric buildup, a lot more just psychological horror within the world, the world storytelling and building, and from what we can tell, it seems to revolve around a cult. At least that's the most logical explanation of these people all living out on some weird farm trying to kill you. And they seem very, very, very religious in a crazy way. So yeah, that's my take on what's going to happen. I haven't looked up really anything, because I don't want to know really much more than I already know from the demo and the first commercial that they had released, and then the stuff I read on their Steam thing, which was literally just like a paragraph. So I kind of don't want to go any further, because I want to go into this story completely pretty much blind and take you guys on this adventure with me. So that game I am definitely going to be playing this month. Not sure if I'll be able to get it right when it comes out, but I'll do my best to do so and stuff, because I'm just so excited to play this game. And it may depend. I don't know. Is there a different release time for the system version versus the Steam version or the computer version? Because I can play it on my computer, but it's gonna run at lower frame rate. More like I think the demo ran at like 28 to 25 frames per second. I wouldn't really want to record the computer version. So if I I'll probably have to wait and get it for the PS4 if they have a wait time, but hopefully they don't. Hopefully it comes out roughly the same time and stuff, because everyone's going to be playing this game, really. Everyone is. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about Outlast 2. I'm super, 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 super excited for it. I just can't wait to dive into that story and just experience real raw fear again, because, I mean, we played Resident Evil earlier this year, and this year has a lot of horror games, I think, that are coming out that are more higher budget horror games, and starting off with pretty much Resident Evil 7 and stuff, and that was just an absolute blast to play. The very big difference, obviously, is Resident Evil, you can defend yourself against a lot of the scariness, and Outlast, there really is no defense. All you're out there in the not the woods, but the countryside with your camera, and you're going, why is that creepy person walking away from me? Why are they staring at me just walking back into the woods? It's almost scarier than if they were chasing me. But yeah, I just can't wait. I can't wait. But let's go on to the next game. The next game is another game coming out this month. It's coming out the 28th of this month, I do believe. And that is Little Nightmares. And if you don't know what that is a kind of 3D, but it's a puzzle platformer. Which I think the closest thing I can describe it as, and I'm going to totally forget the name of the game here. The character in the game is called Yarny. I don't know if it's called Unravel, right? Is that the name, Unravel? But the I don't know. Whatever. It's also a 3D puzzle platformer, very similar in kind of how you play it. At least it appears, where you're like a little tiny person, you're climbing over stuff and just like, trying to solve puzzles and stuff. The very big difference, though, is Little Nightmares, as the name sounds, is a horror game that wants to give you little nightmares, or in this case, huge, humongous nightmares that will never go away forever. If I remember right, their kind of description is about how, come experience your childhood nightmares. And it really does kind of represent that and stuff. You're just little tiny character, and I think the entire time you're wearing like kind of almost like that yellow raincoat. I don't know if you ever see your face, kind of just like comes down over your head and stuff, and you're just kind of exploring this world where for the most part you seem to be extremely little tiny person. Like every door you go through, you're like half the size and stuff. It's very similar in that way to Yarny, and I think, like I was saying, it's very similar to Yarny, but it also kind of is as if Yarny clashed with the movie Coraline a little bit. I don't know if that's like a perfect example, but that's kind of what I have to give. But the creatures and just the world of that game looks so interesting. The monsters that I've seen so far from the videos that I've watched, I've seen a couple gameplay videos that they've released, and of course the trailers and stuff, just look very interesting. There's like this one monster guy who has really long arms, and he like chases you around. And I think it's the same guy. He's like has these it's kind of, I don't know if they're statues or if they're other people that he's caught and killed, but they're all kind of like standing around him and stuff, and you have to throw one to distract him and stuff, and he goes off to grab it, and then you're like kind of hiding through these figurines that are the same size as you to try to escape him. And like I said, it's very much a puzzle platformer, which I haven't actually played a puzzle platformer that's three-dimensional like this in a long time. I'm trying to think of one that I've really ever played. I don't know. One doesn't come to mind that something that I've played that plays precisely like this. Like I said, Yarny is the closest thing, but I've never played that. But it just looks very interesting, very entertaining, almost cute to some extent, which is really funny. It's got like a cuteness, but a complete terrifyingness at the same time. You're like, oh, this is so cute. Oh, holy crap. Run for our lives. We're going to die. But it just looks, I don't know. It's the type of horror that I can really get into without like getting scared. Like there's Outlast where I go in for the pure fear of it, and you're just like, yes, scare me to death. But then there's games like Little Nightmares where you're expecting to get scares, but it's not the same type of scares. It's not scares to be scared. It's scares that tell an interesting, dark, kind of creative story and stuff. And I just can't wait to experience that game as well. Okay, I guess we're gonna move on to the third game then. This third game is one that I have followed pretty much since day one of their announcement. They announced it, I don't know, it was almost 2 years ago now. But they announced it before they had even really started development on it, which is obviously a very unique thing. And the reason for this is that the entire thing was almost kind of an experiment, you could say. And the entire idea behind the experiment is we're going to take a team of highly skilled, but a very small team of developers and see with like a smaller budget, a budget of just one company versus, taking all these other companies or higher companies like Sony and stuff like that and giving them money to produce it and stuff. Instead of getting other companies on board, make it all yourself and see if it's still possible to make a high quality AAA game that does well. And another advantage to that is they wanted to keep the price low, because once you go, to make a game with other companies, EA Games, Ubisoft, Square Enix, like all these different games. What is the technical term of those games? They'd be publishers, right? That'd be the thing. They're publishing the game. The second you go with one of those, you're usually almost always going to be bringing it out on a disc format. The second you bring it out on a disc format, you have to pay. You have to charge pretty much $60 for it, and the reason for that is obviously everyone has to make their money, from the people who make the discs all the way back to the people who created the game. And I don't even think this game is going to be released on disc, and even if it is, they're going to probably be special order edition disc things and stuff. But this game is Hellblade. I have mentioned this game before. I'm super excited about this game. Like I said, I followed it from day one of their announcement, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it. They've pretty much, since day one, they've had game development logs, videos and stuff on their website every other month, just showing kind of their development, their progress along their game, of how they're thinking and their thought process behind everything they're doing, and just showing the progress that they've made. And obviously it's changed a lot since the beginning, but I think I'll go ahead and start by kind of describing how they came to the story and stuff. So I believe that the whole thing revolves around some archaeological finds that were found around 2 years ago or something like that, and then have been posted on some sort of newspaper that the game developer was reading. One of the game developers, the head developer of it and stuff, and they were reading and stuff, and it was about, I believe, Celtic kind of ruins and stuff, and I think it was a ring. I'm not 100% sure on this, so forgive me, but it was some sort of object like a ring or something like that, and it had a name with it and stuff, and the game developer was like, nobody really knew anything about it, or the history of it, and the game developer was like, oh, I can make a story off of this, and they began to develop a story about this warrior princess named Senua. And the game, I believe, is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I think that's the full title of the game. But Ninja Theory, if you don't know, they're the people who are creating the game, obviously. They are a company that's very much known for their combat and stuff. They've made games. They made Heavenly Sword. They made Enslaved. They made Cry. Devil May Cry, the fourth one, I think. And these are all games that are heavily based around combat and combat systems, and that's what this game, from the start, was supposed to be. And it's changed a lot since then. Starting out, it was going to be like a heavily combat system, kind of an open world, more of a open level with where it all revolved around the central point within the world. And the idea behind the story was this princess, Senua, her family or somebody was killed by these Viking invaders, and the entire thing was her slowly kind of getting revenge, but it was kind of, I believe they described it as her descending into kind of the Viking different levels of hell.
And the Northmen took him from her. Senua knows that there is no going back to how things were, that there is nothing to go back to at all. Stay still, stay quiet, hide, don't turn around.
Their gods can see into your mind. They will use this power to destroy you.
They won't stop me.
Kind of before it was just she's this warrior princess and stuff. Now she's this warrior who has mental issues and stuff. specifically, I know she hears voices. I'm not sure how many different mental disabilities or mental issues she's dealing with. But the one thing that really impressed me watching these development logs is they didn't just be like, okay, we're gonna make her hear voices, and they just added voices. They were like, okay, what is that like? And then they reached out to psychologists and also people who actually hear voices and have different mental disabilities that the character was supposed to have as well, and asked, what does this sound like? How does this affect your life? And various things like that. And then they implemented. They found ways to implement it in the game. And it looks really exciting. Like, now it's very much a puzzle game with really good combat elements in it. Like, once again, this is another one of those games that it might not live up to the hype. I'm really hyped on this game because I've been following it, from day one, and I really like everything that they've done. I'm not like a huge lover of all the games they've developed in the past, but I have huge respect for Ninja Theory and how they do things, because they seem to take quality and kind of precision and realisticness to the extreme, where they're like, okay, we're gonna make somebody who has these type of mental disorders, these mental issues, it's going to be as realistic as possible. And they've done some crazy thing with sound. I've seen some of the puzzles that are based on sound that they've kind of showed. They've also have a lot of puzzles based on visual stuff, of course, but it's like you line up a tree in a certain way and you find, oh, there's a pattern in this tree, and if I line it up with this, it kind of all connects together and kind of tells you where to go and stuff like that. But something that really astonished me is, obviously this is not a high budget game and stuff. I mean, I'm sure compared to some indie developers, it's probably a pretty high budget game, but for what it is, what they're used to making and stuff, it's not a high budget game. I think when they started out, they only had 13 developers on the project, and but this game has already created some interesting new technology, or not necessarily created the technology, but improved the technology. Recently, they won an award, and forgive me, I've forgotten the name of the award of where they won it, the show they won it at. But they went to one of the game shows. There's many of them out there and stuff, and they had their actress, who is also, I believe, one of the workers on the game themselves and stuff, do a act out a scene with motion cap technology on their face, and live they transferred it from her acting on into the game, like right away, not, I don't know if there was a delay or not, but it was just instantaneously, pretty much on the game and stuff, and she just acted out there and in the game at the same time. So they are real time able to capture and project it into the game, which is something that, as far as I know, has never been done before. I mean, they obviously won an award for it, so it's got to be somewhat new. And when it comes to motion cap, that's actually another interesting thing that's going on with the game. Is motion cap's obviously a technology that's been around for a while. You see it in a lot of games, but you don't actually see it as nearly as many as you think, because a lot of times even bigger production games are like, okay, we don't want to spend the money on this. And for Ninja Theory, I'm not sure about all their games, but majority of the games I know of do have motion cap technology in it. One of their oldest games that I know of, Heavenly Sword, was one of the first games that actually had motion cap in it. But because they had such a low budget for this game, they knew they couldn't pay to go to another studio and do that. And that's what you do. You don't own your own studio where you can capture motion cap stuff, because that's way too freaking expensive. And because of that, they knew they still wanted to capture it that way, though. So they created their own motion cap studio with developing their own equipment. And obviously it's probably not nearly as good as if you could actually take it to the real studio, but they actually do high quality motion cap technology in their own place under circumstances where they developed and built their own equipment for it and stuff, which is really impressive. Like I said, not that many people working on this game, but very highly skilled and dedicated and devoted people. I'm really excited for this game because I'm thinking people who are this driven, people who are this passionate about a game, You know, I mean, it may not be amazing, but it has to be at least an entertaining, worthwhile experience to go through and stuff. And I'm just excited to experience it. And another interesting thing is there was this puzzle that they've recently showed. I won't talk too much longer because I've gone on way too long about this game. But a puzzle that they recently showed where they designed this entire puzzle within this level where you could play it with no visuals at all. And that's not something new. There's actually games on Steam that you can buy that are 100% blind games where it's all based on the audio. But you never see this in AAA games. And they do have visual now added to it because they're like, okay, we're going to add a little bit because, I mean, it's a AAA game. People usually only get those type of games for that specific experience. It's probably not going to go well if people play a game with completely blackness. And also they realize that in reality, somebody who's blind or can't see for a certain amount of time, you know, like temporary blind, they're still going to have touch and feel. So they kind of gave you, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet awareness around you so you can feel stuff, kind of visually feel stuff for us, but give us the equivalent of being able to feel and stuff. So I don't know, I'm just really excited for what they're doing with this game. And it's technology that I see developed in games like this. The ability to motion capture somebody's performance and live put it in the game, in the video, and develop it all. And like, it wasn't just like, oh, it's there, but there's no special effects going on. There's no high quality, you know, like effects and stuff going on. But they actually, you know, they had that. They had those high quality effects. It just makes me so excited to where game development is going in the future. It's kind of like when I first saw the Vive and the Oculus Rift coming out, I'm just like mind blown. I'm just like, oh my goodness, like I cannot wait for the technology to be developed to improve this further. Where are we going to be, you know, in the next few years when it comes to gaming? And that's why it's so exciting to be a gamer. Like when you're a gamer, like you're always looking forward to new technology. You're always looking forward, and the future really when it comes to gaming is always brighter. There's really no future where it's like, oh damn it. There might be a year where, you know, there's not the best games that year, but you're always like, okay, next year, what are we having coming next? And I just can't wait to explore that further. I think one last thing I'm gonna say about Hellblade is, like I said, I know I've gone a little long. I wanted this to be 25 minutes. We're already at 30 minutes. One last thing I wanted to say about it is they recently showed a short video where they were talking about the audio of the game. And they talk about how they capture audio through a microphone. You've probably seen these before, where they're ear shaped. They have ears on both sides, and because of that, well, not just because of that, but because of their technology and design, they capture it as if you're really standing there, and so you can hear audio all the way around you and stuff. But apparently, I'm not an audio technician, so I wouldn't be able to confirm this. But according to them, you can't edit that type of audio. Or at least in a certain way you can't edit it. I'm sure there's some ways you can edit it, but you can't edit it in all the ways that they would like. But they're using it because of that ability to move it around. However, since it's a game and you can't predict where the player is going to be standing in certain situations, they've actually fixed it to the player, not to Senua, because it's a third-person game. And which is a really interesting thing, because while doing that, they showed a little video within the video clip from the game that there's a narrator talking to you about Senua, and then like all of a sudden Senua stops and she looks straight at the camera, straight at you, and then the narrator says, "Shh, she hears us," which really gives me the idea that they're trying to kind of put you as if you're one of the voices within, you know, her head, because she's having all these multiple voices talk to her and stuff. And I'm just really, I don't know, there's little things like that that just make me really interested to play this game. I'm just like, wow, this game could be a complete disaster and not play smoothly at all, or not be as well put together as I would like after all this time. But I think it's going to be worth the playthrough no matter what. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this. Like I said, I'm so excited to experience some of these games with you and stuff. I'm definitely going to be playing all of these games when I can, and especially on my channel and stuff. And so it's just a delight to be able to experience and talk about these games and stuff with you guys. And I'm not sure if it's exactly enjoyable to listen to me just kind of blabber and talk about this. Because, I mean, unlike some channels out there who are actually fact-based channels when they talk about games, they're going to just give you the true 100% facts. Right now, I've done almost no research, just watch stuff this is off of my own knowledge and just talking about, you know, stuff that I've seen and the dates and stuff I'm pretty sure are 100% because I just looked that up before. But I'm not like a factual channel where I've gone and done like all the research beforehand and stuff. I've just, you know, watched the videos and been like, that's what I think it looks interesting about here and want to talk about. So I hope it's at least a little bit entertaining for you guys to watch and stuff. And I mean, I love talking about games. And like I said, I'm super excited for the future of gaming and the technology and where it's going and stories and how people are going to be able to tell stories in different ways. You know, VR, the improvement of motion capture technology and just all this stuff. It's just so exciting. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, please feel free to leave a like or comment. Let me know if there's any games you think I should check out and either play or just maybe even talk about. Just let me know in the comments. And yeah, you know what? Thank you for watching, and let's do this again sometime. Bye. 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 Bye.